Hello everyone, my name is Rajesh Kumar and I'm your Devops SRE DevSecOps coach.
Okay, so the first question which we have today, and that is, what is Ansible? So anyone would like to comment on it? Let's make this session interactive today.
It's a configuration automation management tool.
Yeah, that's right. So whenever someone asks what is Ansible, or let's say if you Google it, uh, or if you ask someone, so you will get an answer. Ansible is a configuration management tool. Now, tool, we understand that what is the meaning of it, but here when I say management means what? That is something which you need to understand. And then next question, you will say configurations. Configuration means what? Because configuration is a very broad word, right? It can be kitchen configuration. It can be room configuration, right? So we need to put the context here. So here, when you say management, so basically we are managing the servers. Do
Rajesh,
not
I'm
say
sorry to interrupt. The recording started, right?
yes, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Servers. Yeah, this is the same server. You've been working with it. VMs on AWS, Azure, VMware, whatever it is. So you're managing a server. Means Ansible managing a server. Simple. But then you'll ask, okay, managing a server means what says? What exactly in the server? So
It could
configuration
be
of server.
services.
Ha,
It could be
yes.
services along with servers.
Yeah,
So management of any resources which we give as an input to manage. It could be
right.
resources of cloud, for example.
Hmm,
Configuration means when we given instructions to make the changes or making the setting up the new services. It could be existing or non-existing, both.
right. Yeah, true. So Ansible will manage servers. I said servers. Now you will say what servers? What configurations? What configuration in servers? So what do you find in the servers? Typically you can configure it simple. When I say server, what you can find in the server? Each server, what you can find? So don't you see see a file, you see directory, correct? You see services, you see user, you see group, you see apt, you see yum, you see command, don't you? These are the things you find in the server, right? So now next question you can ask, what can you do with this? So this we call it a server resources, okay? Whatever you can find in your server, in fact your laptop, don't go for server, just look at your laptop. That is your resources. File is one resources, directory, services, user, and blah 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 things. So now next question you will ask, okay, what can you do, or what kind of configurations you can do with these resources which you find in the server? I don't know. You have to tell me, like, what can you do with the file? Either you create a file, modify the file, delete a file. Same goes with the directory, right? Create a directory, modify the directory, destroy the directory. Services, what you do? Start, stop, enable, disable. What you can do with the user? Add the user, edit this, delete it. Something similar. What you do with the activity? Either you install, right? You remove,
But
or
with the service,
something.
you can also create services, remove stuff, reconfigure services, and so on.
Yeah. So services, let's say you have it. Either you start the service, XYZ service, or stop the service, enable the service, disable the service, like this. These are the things you do that. Creating a service, what to do? Creating a service file, right? Theoretically, if you understand, if you want to create a service, what to do? There's one file has to be created under init.d directory, correct? No? So likewise, you have to do that. What do you do with the yum? Either install or remove, update, all these things. What do you do with the commands? You run the script or command. Simple. So these are the things you can do. These are the things you can do, which is called configurations. So here Ansible manage configuration of these resources in multiple server. Simple. Again, I'm repeating, very simple. Ansible managing configurations for multiple resources in the servers. So we call it config management tool for servers. Are we clear on this?
And slightly one suggestion, when if we emphasize on the servers are nothing but the hardware, right? At same very time, if we can manage the appliances, we can manage the network devices like Cisco switches, routers, firewall,
Yeah,
storage devices, right? So these
yeah,
are all devices. So we can
yeah,
manage the devices along with servers and services.
yeah. So in simple way, let's put it in this way. Here we have a hardware, software, people, process. Typically we call it in a more generic way. So now Ansible can manage the configurations of hardware, software, people, and process. Now, then you'll say, Rajesh, Ansible can manage the hardware. Actually, no, Ansible can manage the hypervisor, which is a software. Hypervisor. This is a software. And then Ansible can manage the software. So that way, the one which you said, no, Ansible can manage the hardware, not directly, but through a hypervisor. Now software, these are the things software. People, these are the users and group, and process like services and all. So this way you can keep it all these things. So here hardware Ansible cannot manage it directly. It required software, and Ansible can work with the hypervisor, let's say VMware, VirtualBox, and whatever it, AWS and stuff like that, cloud also.
So, Rajesh, I have a question. On cloud platform, I also heard that bare metal provisioning also possible. So, if Ansible doesn't do that, how they usually do bare metal provisioning? Bare metal
So
provisioning.
here you have no bare metal provisioning is done by the hypervisor, and Ansible can manage those hypervisors. So hypervisors like
I think he's talking about bare metal machines, not something that you put a hypervisor on top.
okay, so bare metal means there's no operating system. In that case, you have to remember that network, you have to do that. So that way network can be used. I mean, Ansible can do the network call, and network through that it can be managed.
Okay. So bare
So
metal generally, I don't know if anybody has any idea.
so
Bare metal
bare metal
usually.
bare metal cannot be managed. Actually, you can do some sort of activities, let's say OS installations, or there is one functionality in bare metal, wake up on the LAN, so that if that is active, you can connect through the network to that device and then do certain activities like installing the kernel or something like that, or maybe uh, some activities, network related activities and all. So that can be done.
Okay.
Okay, so these are the hard hypervisor I was talking about, but definitely Ansible can connect with the. See, when I say, I'll put it in this way. When you say network devices, okay, so network devices also, if you look at this, is a small different types of servers itself, where network software runs in a compute environment. So that way, if you consider, that can be done. For example, Cisco routers and all. So that can be managed through uh, Ansible. So that is possible. Okay, so now this is something which we have. Now, next question is, okay, so we understood that why we call it a configuration management tool. Okay, Ansible is a configuration management tool. They have a multiple ranges actually. So one of the release which we call Ansible. There's one more release we have AWX, and another release we have Tower. Okay, so Ansible, the one which I'm talking about, which basically it's a CMD and it's a free. Okay, and this is something which I'm covering right now in the session. Okay, now when I say AWX is a UI based software. Okay, UI based software. Tower is also UI based software. Now then you'll ask what is the difference between AWX and Tower. So this is free and this is a paid. Now in AWX also you will get all feature. Tower also you'll get all feature. But the difference is this is a non-tested version of Tower release. Okay, so no support is there. Here you have no support. That means if you are using this one and then you come across some problems, support will not be given. Whereas here in this paid version, it's a tested one and support is available. That's a major difference. Okay. Now, next question is how this Ansible has been written. So this is written in Python. Yes. So this is something, if you want to customize it, you should know Python. Most of ops guys have either fair, basic or good knowledge on the Python already. Okay. Now, next thing is which company which is
Excuse me.
running this?
Excuse me.
Yeah. So which company is running this one? So this is from the company which is called Red Hat. Okay. This is something who's managing this tool. So this is Ansible. Uh, Ansible is a config management tool, and I'm teaching you Ansible command line, free version of it, written in Python from the Red Hat. Now, let's say if I say version, I may not 100% right, but it's a 3.6, I think. I just say AX. So that is the current version which I'm going to teach you, the most recent one. Okay, so this is something which we have. Now, then next question you will ask, okay, why we need Ansible? I'm not going to use very complicated keywords like consistent change management, deployment automations or something, but I'll tell you, uh, see here, uh, whatever Ansible can do, okay, um, any languages can do. In fact, Bash scripting, you can do that. Python, you can write directly. Perl, Ruby, Java. But you know what? One of the reason is Ansible is easy to learn. Okay, easy to learn, test, debug, share, extend, you know, and all this thing compared to all these languages, Python, Java, and stuff like that. Now we'll say Bash is easy, correct? Now Bash scripting is easy, but Bash would it work on Windows? No. So that is a problem. So here Ansible is a platform independent. That means it will work in every operating system. Okay. And the same time, using Ansible, if you want to do the config management, okay, config management, then it's easy to learn, test, debug, test, extend, share, and all stuff like that. Same time, it can help you to configure large number of servers. Okay, I said yes, always servers in a parallel environment, parallel way. So this is something which you can give some context to that. That means uh, nowadays there's one keyword which is being very popular. It's like DSL domain, so domain specific languages. So Ansible is a kind of it. You have if you want to manage a large number of servers and their configuration, Ansible is a best choice rather than start programming, right? Everything. Okay, now one of the things is um, Ansible is also idempotent. Anyone would like to talk about idempotency feature? Anyone? So idempotence functionality nowadays you will find in the many tools actually, including Terraform and all. So it's like this. Let's say I want to configure one server. Okay, so 10 things to be done in order to configure one server. Assume that each things will take 1 minute. So total how much time it will take to configure the server? 10 minutes. This was the first run. This is happened in the first run. Okay. Now, if the tool you have a idempotency enabled, what will happen? Next time, next run, if you, let's say only two changes are there, two things are there out of 10, that means two changes are there to be done, not everything. So it will take only 2 minutes, right? It will take 1 minute to do each steps, and then overall it will take 2 minutes. That is how idempotency works. So that means Ansible has a built-in capability to check if the some of the desire, which is you are writing through code, which is there in the server or not. And if it is there, Ansible will not make changes and move on to the next resource changes actually. So this is the second onwards will happen. So this is called idempotency, where Ansible will check desire versus actual, compare it, and then make a decision to do the changes in the server. Okay, so these are the some of the at a high level fundamental reason why we are going for Ansible. Now you will say, Rajesh, I don't like Ansible. So what should I do? So yes, if you don't like Ansible and if you're writing a code, okay, then probably you will go for Chef, Puppet, CF engine, correct? Salt, all this thing, you'll go for it. Now let's say if you say, no, I don't like coding at all, and you want to go for UI languages like UI language, not UI based tool, then you go for you deploy, Octopus deploy, many tools are there actually, um, Excel deploy. So many tools are there actually, which can do the stuff. Okay, are you understanding, all of you?
Yes.
Okay, so now the next question is you would like to know how it works. Sometime also we call it architecture. Okay, so how do we work? So guys, Ansible, how it works. So first thing which we have here, uh, we are the person in this architecture. Me, you, okay, ops guys. Okay, and then we connect to what? We connect to ACS. What is ACS stand for? So ACS basically we call it Ansible Control Server. Okay, so that is something which we call it Ansible Control Server. And ACS manages the ARS. What is ARS? ARS stand for Ansible Remote Servers. So Ansible Control Server, ARS, Ansible Remote Server. Okay, so this is something which we have. Now, next question you will ask, tell me more about ACS, tell me more about ARS. So guys, here ACS versus ARS. So now ACS always need to be Linux version. Yes, yes. Ansible control server, you call it, you can simply call it Ansible server if you want it. Okay, so Ansible server is always Linux. Now ARS, it can be Linux or Windows, anything it can be. And it, in order to become a ACS, here you need to install Ansible. Here, not applicable. You don't need to install. So typically we call it Ansible as a agentless. Why? Because there's nothing need to be installed. Why we don't need to install anything? that we'll discuss in some time. Okay, so this is the one. Now next thing is this has to be 64-bit. This has to be anything. Okay, now you know that Ansible ACS is Linux server and ARS can be anything. So let's say if ARS is Linux, then communication protocol which happens, which is SSH. Okay, communication protocol happens, which is SSH. Now in case of Windows, okay, this is WinRM. Mind it. That means if you ask me how ACS connect to ARS, which protocol it uses to connections, communications over the network, so SSH. And then for Windows, WinRM. And that is a fundamental reason why you don't need any agent. Why? Because this SSH you will find in the most of the Linux system, and WinRM nowadays is coming with every Windows server. Are you good with it? Okay,
So,
so now,
so
yeah,
WinRM, how it works, agentless means the commands gets invoked from the ARS to the target host.
it's a HTTP protocol to sending the request. They are using HTTP protocol, some port number 5638 or something like that.
Okay, the scripts have to be deployed or placed on the all the target hosts, or how exactly?
So WinRM nowadays is coming by default in every Windows server. Earlier, it was not coming, so people were separately installing it. But nowadays, you will get it as part of your server. Maybe it's installed, but it may not be enabled. So you have to check that. But in Windows Server is enabled, but in your machine, you have to check whether it's enabled or not. Okay, so this is a HTTP protocol. Okay, WinRM. So this is something which they communicate, which means ACS NR. Now you'll say, okay, what are the prerequisite to have to make it ACS? So yes, you need to have Python, and that's obvious, right? Because I told you Ansible has been developed using Python, so Python need to be there in ACS. If ARS is Linux, then you need to have a Python. Why? Because remember that these packages which is been set from ACS to ARS, only Python can understand that. But if it is a Windows, then you need to have .NET and PowerShell, this one, PowerShell 3, PS3.0. Now this is a requirement for agent, ARS, and so on, and ACS. Okay, so now if someone will ask you what is architecture, I think you will understand, you will explain it, I hope. There is an Ansible control server which is controlled by us. Ansible control server control the Ansible remote servers, and ACS can be has to be Linux. ARS can be anything. ACS we typically install Ansible tool. ARS we have nothing because of SSH and VNRM protocol not required. It has to be 64-bit. ARS can be any bit, 32 and 64-bit. Ansible ACS has to be installed Python with, and if ARS is Linux, Python. If it is Windows, .NET, PS3.0. So this is the architecture knowledge. Any questions so far?
No.
Okay, so guys, after understanding, you will ask, okay, what is Ansible when I install it? It's just a two to 3 minutes of work when I install the Ansible. It's a utility, okay? Don't get stressed it out. It's just a command line tool. You see here I said somewhere. Uh, Here it is. See, it's just a command line tool. Nothing great about it. Free. Okay. So when I install Ansible, what do we get? When you install Ansible, I'll show you that demo in some time. So what do we get? So I call it component of Ansible, ACS. Oh, sorry, Ansible. So what do we get? So guys, whenever you install Ansible in the system, um, you will get executable, and actually too many executables you'll get it. I think 9 or 10. Okay. So executable is something like, you understand, it will be copied under your Linux path locations, and that is how it is executable. You will get modules. Okay, you will get modules. You will get plugins also, and you get a config file. Okay, so executables which you can understand, nothing great about it. I think approx 10 executables will be there. Some example I must share with you. Ansible, which is a command line, is a executable only. There's one more executable which we have, Ansible-playbook, right? And many other utilities will be there. For example, doc is there, inventory is there, SSH. I mean, so many executables will be there. Okay. So now next question is, what is a modules? What is plugins? What is a config file? And all this thing. So right now I'm just stating at a high level, so you don't have to get lost in that. Okay, so what is modules? So guys, modules is basically Ansible, sorry, Python code. Yeah, Python code. Now next thing is, okay, Python code for what? That I'll discuss in some time. What is plugins? Plugins is a Python code also. So many files of Python. What is a config file? It's just a configuration file, one config file. Okay, so executables, modules, plugins, and config files. All these you get it when you install Ansible. So config file I'll discuss in some time, but let's try to understand modules and plugins. So modules is a Python code, and plugins is also Python code. So next question is, what exactly it will do, this Python code? So module is a Python code which will run in ARS. Yes. And this basically plugins which runs in ACS. Understand that. So modules always run in ARS. Plugins always run in ACS. So now still I'm not able to understand what exactly it will do. So modules is a things is a change which you want to do, in ARS. Example, copy is a module, service is a module, user is a module, file, the one which I talked about, all these are modules here. This one. You know how many modules you have? How many modules you have? 5,000 modules you have actually. You can write your own modules also if you know Python and other languages. Nothing great about it. Okay. So modules is nothing but a Python code, but it runs in ARS, remote server. For example, if you want to copy something in ARS, start some services, create user, copy some files, or whatever it is, you use modules. Okay. And for using module, it required parameter. This is important work actually. Then you'll say, okay, what is parameter you're talking about? Understand guys, very simple. When you copy file, don't you have to write src and destination? This is a parameter. When you start the services, don't you have to write a name of the services and whether you want to start or stop? Correct. If you want to create user, don't you need to write username and you want to create or delete? So these are called parameters. And as I said, there are 5,000 modules plus, which you have it in Ansible, which is making Ansible very versatile. So Are you understanding the concept of modules?
Can I add one thing?
Yes, please.
Uh, so these modules are getting increased day by day very frequently. Just to give an example, 2 years back there were around 3,000 modules, and today it is 5,000 plus.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
there is a team who are continuously working. So reason behind is that whenever the new device that is being added in the Ansible, uh, so they add the module of that
yeah,
services or devices.
yeah.
Thanks.
Anything new thing is coming, people write a module, share at the GitHub, and publish on the official pages also. It's a community driven, so anyone can write. In fact, you can write a module, and if you know Python, that's all. I mean, any language you can write a module. That's not only Python, but Python is the most compatible in this whole ecosystem. Okay, so are you sure about this module now? Hello. Okay, now guys, I want to show you some modules locations which you can find it. So here Ansible modules, and here you see so many pages are there nowadays. All modules. This is good actually. Google ranking has been compromised a little bit. So these are the locations. Okay, module index, and here many has been written here also. And if you see, these are the categories. Okay, don't think it's a module. For example, there's one category called file modules. So click on this and you see file modules. So many modules are there. Now one of the module I'll go, let's say copy. This is the copy module, right? And just now I was talking about, right, copy module, or any module. There's so many modules are there, and each modules will have a parameter. So your major task is to understand their parameters, actually arguments. Click on it and please read this. Don't rush. Those who are learning Ansible, don't rush, because there's so many things. If you don't understand the pattern, it will be very difficult. So this is the copy module. This is the detailing. Also, I must say you should follow the official documents. Google, you may find old version of Ansible code also. And this is that parameter which I was talking about. Each modules you have a parameter. This is your main work actually. This is where I'll teach you techniques, my techniques, and this is the module. Okay. For Windows, because it's a different language, right? A Linux module has been written Python, Windows is in .NET and all this thing. So win copy is the module. So any module which is starting with a win underscore, that is a Windows module. Okay, that is how it is. Now these are the parameters. If you see that, the parameters called attributes, backup, checksum, and here is a data type. Attributes should be a string. This is a boolean and string. Now here when you say added this functionality in 2.5, that means they are saying Ansible version. Okay, so this parameter they added in this particular version. Now if you see that this part boolean yes no, right, and here no blue. Why? Because by default if you do not select this one and make it yes, by default it's a no. So that is a default value. Now there is not everything is important. Okay, not everything is important. So if you see that here, it is required. That means without you cannot use this module. So only one is required, I guess. Yeah. And you see that logic you need to understand. Let's say I'm talking about the copy module, right? So copy module, you have source, which file to copy, from where and to where. So if you see that destination, here it is. If you don't, let's say it is not required, so it will copy the current location every files and put it in a destination. So that is how it is. Okay, so this is the one of the modules out of thousands of module. Okay, are you feeling a little comfortable now?
So if I develop a module, how do is there somebody to validate or authorize after I uploading it to Git, or just like that, whatever I do, I can upload it to GitHub?
You can upload to GitHub and you can make a request to Ansible community. Hey, consider my module. This is the code. This is the documentations, and they will have different phases of acceptance, and they find it, they will add it.
Mhm.
It's a community driven. Not one person is the owner of it. It's all community decide, and they have a framework for it. And all this passes through GitHub itself.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I'll show you one more module so you get comfortable. For example, service module. Let me remind you, what can you do with it? Start, stop, enable, disable, right? So go back and go back, and service module, I think it should be in the system, right? See, these are the categories, okay? So let's say if you want to work with a network, so here you have category. Let's say if you're working with the monitoring tools, here it is. And if you want to work with some Windows here, so these are the category: crypto, cloud, AWS, Google Cloud, and all. So system has a service, and again, so many. Let's look at service. Where is that? Here it is. And you see that? Don't rush. You should read this, okay? And the windows starting with Win. These are the arguments. And you see here required is name. Means you have to give the name mandatory. But what has to be done? Whether start, stop, restart, what exactly? So state, if you see, it's nothing. So every module you'll see state. So state means what should be done. What is the state of this name? Means like Apache service. What do you want to say? So nothing. That means by default it will do nothing. So you have to specify state is equal to reloaded or restarted or started or stopped. So here it is, right? So this is something you have to do. If you want to enable and disable, here you say yes and no. So likewise, this is the learning curve we have. I'll teach you my techniques also. And this is the modules. I'm putting in the here. Okay. Are you clear, all of you?
Yes.
Okay. So guys, next thing is plugins. What is plugins? So plugins is also Python code only, but it runs in ACS. See, I'll put it in simple way. See, Ansible required lots of feature. For example, let's say these are the executable and they want to make a SSH call, or they want to make some pass the authentication, something like that, or many other stuff. So they want to do many things. So these executables is not every feature is hard coded. You won't find it. Each features is hard coded in this. So what is happening? So Ansible has come up with the concept of plugin. Just give me 2 seconds. Sorry. So this code is something like empowering the feature of Ansible itself. Okay. Empowering the Ansible user only. Okay. Ansible itself. So let's say you any features you want in Ansible itself. Ansible means core Ansible, extra feature that will be empowered with the plugins. So many built-in plugins are there which you can use it, but actually you can also write a plugins also. So some of the plugins, these are the guidelines for developing a plugin, but I want to show you the plugins. So here these are the built-in plugin, you have it. So become plugin, cache plugin, callback plugin. So these are the feature of Ansible actually. Modules. So this plugin will help you to detect all the modules. And this plugin will help you to detect the filter in some inventory or file. I'll talk about it, playbook and all. This plugin will help you to do the different types of connection. Default is SSH, but it can be an RM and other stuff also, Docker and all. This plugin will help you to define which shell you want to use it. Multiple shell are there, right? And many plugins are there. Okay, so these plugins is empowering the functionality of the Ansible. Don't get confused. It is running in the ACS only. Okay, so now you know you know what, when you install Ansible you get a executable, you get a modules, you get a plugins, and so on. Now last thing is config file. What is config file? So guys, config file is a file I want to show you. Okay, I want to show you first example of ansible.cfg and Devops school. I hope I have copied it, but I don't remember though. It's there. So you can copy from the Google also, but I love my own notes. So see that. This is the one file which is called this file. And this located on the etc Ansible, these locations, etc Ansible. And you see this is a pretty long file. Spend some time, don't rush, because understanding is the most important, because if you really want to understand the approach, hundreds of options are there. And you know what? All these options you have a detailing also. Don't worry, you don't need to learn all of this. One or two is sufficient to get started, and then later on, based on your requirement, you can enable, disable, whatever it is. Most of these are default, but disabled by default. Okay, so this is something which is Ansible. So now next question is, okay, fine, I understand that that's a Ansible file. Location is etc Ansible and Ansible.cfg, correct now? .cfg. So this is the location. So why do we have this file? What is the reason for it? So guys, it's very simple. Very simple thing which we have to understand. See, in your infrastructure, it's not everything static, everything fixed. You don't know. You don't have control over there. So here, understand this. These are the executables, correct now? Now these are the executable. Can you change the executable? Answer is no, you cannot change. In order to change the executable, you have to change the source code itself and then compile and then package and all this. It's a headache, right? How easy way you do that? Use Ansible configuration file. So basically, whatever you specify, this will override the default setting in this executable. So that means if you want to change some behavior of Ansible executables, specify in the configuration file. Simple. Don't need to do anything else. For example, let's say SSH by default talking to 22 port, which is hard coded here. You want to change it. This file. Are you understanding me, what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Yeah. So guys, this is your component of Ansible. So now next question you should ask me, okay, uh, I want to learn Ansible. What do we do? What do we need to do? So guys, the first thing, step number one, install Ansible. That is something which you have to do. Step number two, okay, what is your change? What is your change? In simple way, what is your project? What do you want to do in hundreds of servers in one go, parallelly? What do you want to do? What is your change requirement? Right? Simple way, aka project. A project. And then step number three, step number three, start working on it. So how do we start working on it? I need to cover that. I need to teach you that we will do that. Okay, so first step, I'm going to help you with it. So let me get a one VM, Ansible here, 22. Medium is sufficient for us. 8 GB is sufficient for the demo launch. Done. This is the IP address. Let me log in. And username is Ubuntu, right? Yeah. And sudo -s. So done, guys. So now what to do? So guys, here first thing I'm going to install Ansible. So what to do? Just write Ansible install Devops pool, and right now operating system is Ubuntu, right? So this will help you. Okay. Now this is Ubuntu, CentOS, RHEL and all. You don't want to try now. This is more than sufficient. Let me run this. This will add the repository. And finally it will install this. This command will install the Ansible latest version, because 22, right? So they will fetch the latest package and good to go. Done. So guys, now I install the Ansible. So easy, nothing great about it. See, I want to tell you which Ansible. See here, Ansible hyphen version. See, now let's match the discussion. So guys, where is executable? So let me show you. ls, where is that Ansible? User, right? User bin Ansible star. See, these are the executable I was talking about. You know what? If you are a really serious learner, I would suggest for each of these, create one notes. It will help you. Okay. Ansible and then playbook. Where is the playbook? This one. I'll teach you. And then probably I'll use this one also. Galaxy. Okay. But others also you have to learn actually. So these are all the executable for different use cases. This is the one. Now where do we have a modules? So guys, modules, you will have under the etc this location actually. There could be multiple location for modules, okay, but this is the system location I'm talking about. Okay, so see, these are the some of the modules. Multiple locations could be. You see here, these are the py file, you know, Python file, right? Let's say I was talking about the service module. If you remember, where is the service? Here it is. File. I was showing you a copy module, right? C. Where is C? Here it is. So correct. So for each module, there is one Python file. Simple. So this is the modules. Now, where is the plugins? So plugins will be in the same directory, but there is one folder called plugins. Do you see that somewhere? It's there. These are the plugins. See, these are the plugins folder, and inside that Python code will be there. Filter plugin, shell plugin, lookup plugin, popular one, and all. Where is the file? I don't know whether this file will be created. You know, Ubuntu is not created, but other operating system it is created. Let me check. Yeah, it's there. See, this is the file. This file, see, is empty. Nothing is there, but they have given you one reference, the same reference I showed you. So this is the file, right? So guys, now you understood when you install Ansible, what you get it and what are these components, all of this. All of you?
Yes.
Yeah. So now guys, you did this. Now you have to have a requirements, and followed by we start learning Ansible. This is the workflow. So now what we covered so far, we covered that what is Ansible. Okay. We understand why we need Ansible, right? What are the other tools? We also spend some time. We also understand how Ansible works, communication method and all, prerequisite of ACS and ARS we specified. We also understand the component of Ansible. We discuss about the executables, modules, plugins, config files, and then we install the Ansible. Okay. Let's spend 2-3 minutes on discussion. Any questions, any additions you want to make it someone?
Is this installation procedure available on Devops school portal?
Yeah. I use this one. No, I use this one. I'll share with you after this.
Have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devopschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest. Thanks for watching.